Let's be honest, the iPhone 16 series was one of the most underwhelming upgrades we've seen in years. On paper it sounded promising. Apple pushed the idea that Apple Intelligence would fundamentally change how we interact with the iPhone, bring smarter features and a more personalized experience. They marketed this as the biggest leap forward in years, but in reality it was barely a shuffle. Most people couldn't even tell the difference between the iPhone 16 and the iPhone 15. Bezels were thinner, sure, new colours were nice, but the excitement just wasn't there. Even Apple Intelligence felt unfinished, Smarter Siri wasn't ready, and many of the best features were delayed. It didn't feel like the next big thing, it felt like a beta test with a fresh coat of paint. Thankfully, things are already looking a lot more interesting with the iPhone 17, and this time the story isn't just about AI. In fact, some of the biggest upgrades have nothing to do with machine learning or large language models. Apple is finally shaking up the iPhone's design in meaningful ways. New screen sizes, new materials, a brand new model in the range, and changes to core elements like the camera module and logo placement. If you're bored by the iPhone 16, the 17 might just be the refresh you've been waiting for. Let's start with the materials, because this one's a bit of a surprise. After years of Apple doubling down on premium materials, stainless steel on the iPhone 10, titanium on the iPhone 15 Pro and 16 Pro, they're now reportedly going backwards, or at least sideways. According to reliable sources like Instant Digital and Weibo, and Wayne Ma from The Information, Apple plans to swap the titanium frame on the 17 Pro and Pro Max for aluminium. That's right, aluminium, the same material used on the base models. But this isn't just Apple cheaping out. Aluminium is significantly lighter than titanium and easier to manufacture at scale. The Pro iPhones are still going to be premium, but Apple may be prioritizing weight savings and cost efficiency over the sheer toughness of titanium. And it's not just a random rumor either, we've got multiple insiders pointing towards the same structural shift. Of course, a move like this wouldn't be complete with some kind of visual change to go with it, and that brings us to the back of the iPhone. Apple's reportedly moving the Apple logo lower down into a centralized cutout in the glass section that sits within the new aluminium housing. Lee Majumbu, along with schematics from Sonny Dixon, have shown us what this could look like. A repositioned logo placed under a redesigned and wider camera module. The idea is that by placing the logo inside the central glass panel, Apple can maintain MagSafe functionality and ensure the logo remains visible through clear cases. It's a subtle but notable shift, and is the kind of thing that'll make the iPhone 17 Pro stand out visually from previous iPhones. Speaking of standing out, let's talk bezels. Apple made a big deal last year about the 16 Pro having the thinnest bezels ever on an iPhone, and they weren't wrong. But with this year, Apple's taking things even further, and this time it's not just a Pro feature. According to Digital Chat Station, all 4 iPhone 17 models will feature ultra-thin bezels. That includes the base iPhone 17, the brand new iPhone 17 Air, and of course the Pro and Pro Max. This is a pretty big deal because it means Apple's finally standardizing the design language across the range. No more entry-level iPhones looking dated out of the box. It also allows Apple to bump up screen sizes without increasing the size of the phones themselves. The iPhone 17 is moving from 6.1 inches to 6.3 inches, the 17S slots in at 6.6 inches, the Pro also is 6.3 inches, and the Pro Max comes in at a massive 6.9 inches. Nice. And while we're talking about exciting changes, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the iPhone 17 leaks and want more breakdowns, analysis, and comparisons before the launch, subscribing ensures you won't miss a thing. We've got a lot more coming, and I promise it's only getting more interesting from here. Now let's swing back around to the camera. The iPhone 17 Pro reportedly is getting a major upgrade with the entire rear module. We're talking about a larger bumper, a new arrangement of lenses, and a wider layout that spreads across more of the phone's width. The LiDAR scanner and flash are shifting to the right side of the housing, while the main 3 lenses stay on the left side. Inside that bump, Apple's making a couple of important upgrades: a new 48MP telephoto lens and 24MP front camera. That's double the resolution of the current selfie shooter and telephoto. And I know megapixel count isn't everything, but regardless, new sensors are appreciated. On the performance side, we're hearing that with the iPhone 17 Pro, Apple could give us the first iPhone with vapor chamber cooling. This tech has been used in gaming phones and Android flagships for years, and it allows for much better heat dissipation during heavy workloads like gaming or 4K video editing. A leaked copper heat spreader shared by Majumbu gives us a hint at what Apple might be testing. If this makes it into the final product, it could mean high sustained performance, cooler temperatures, and fewer thermal throttling issues, especially useful with the new A19 Pro chipset, expect to power the top tier iPhones. And while we're on chips, the strategy this year might get a little weird. According to analyst Jeff Pu, Apple could be splitting the lineup in an unusual way. The base iPhone 17 gets the A18, the Air gets the A19, and the Pro and Pro Max get the A19 Pro. All of them will use variations of TSMC's 3nm process, but the A19 and A19 Pro will benefit from the more advanced N3P nodes, offering better power efficiency and high performance. It's a smart way to create clearer tiers, but at the same time, when they're already producing a binned version of the A19 Pro for the 17 Air, they might as well bring that chipset to the base 17 as well, so I have my doubts about this report. As for the dynamic island, we're hearing there's a refresh in the works. Not necessarily hardware-wise, that might be saved for the iPhone 18, but a new UI is expected with iOS 26. That might mean more dynamic animations, smart interactions, and better use of that pill ship cutout that's been around since the 14 Pro. Right now, it's a clever design element, but not one that feels fully integrated into how we use iOS. I kind of forget it's there most of the time, so I wouldn't mind a visual overhaul. One area where rumors are conflicting is the refresh rate. Some reports claim Apple might bring 120Hz to the base models, though possibly in a fixed refresh form without variable refresh rate support. Personally, I'm skeptical since a fixed 120Hz panel is going to hurt battery life and Apple cares about efficiency, and Ross Young does believe that all iPhone 17 models will use an adaptive refresh rate, and he is a display guru after all, so I'm going to side with him on this one. Now let's talk pricing, and unfortunately this is where things could get painful, guys. With US tariffs on Chinese-made electronics increasing by 20%, Apple's facing more pressure than ever. They're not going to blame the tariffs publicly, doing so risks political drama, but the result could be higher prices for everyone. Here's what we might see. The base 17 starts at $899, the 17 Air starts at $999, the 17 Pro Max starts at $1099, and the Pro Max starts at $1299. That's a $100 increase across the board, likely justified with claims of new design, better materials, and smarter AI features, even though Apple Intelligence barely works. Now you might be wondering, if tariffs are the problem, why not move production elsewhere? Well, Apple is already doing that. Tim could confirm that most iPhones sold in the US this year will be made in India, but not all models. The Pro and Pro Max are still being made primarily in China due to their complexity. India's production capacity just isn't quite there yet for the high-end stuff, so price hikes are still likely. To sum it all up, guys, the iPhone 17 is shaping up to be one of the most interesting iPhone refreshes in a while. We're getting thinner bezels on every model, a new Air model to mix up the pricing structure, a redesigned logo placement, a camera overhaul, possible vapor chamber cooling, maybe even promotion for everyone, and yes, Apple Intelligence will continue to play a role, but this time, the phone isn't depending on it to feel like a true upgrade. So what do you think? Are these changes enough to get you hyped for the iPhone 17? Or are you waiting to see what Apple does next year with the iPhone 18 and its punch-hole camera and under-display Face ID? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, and I'll see you guys in the next one.